The massive alien ships appeared without warning, their sleek metallic hulls reflecting Earth's sunlight like countless mirrors in the sky. Captain Jeho Parks stood motionless in Seoul's Space Defense Command, his eyes fixed on the holographic display that filled the center of the room. Around him, dozens of officers worked frantically at their stations, but the usual chatter had been replaced by a tense silence. "Sir, we're detecting more ships entering the system," Lieutenant Kim reported, her voice steady despite the situation. "Current count is at 3,000 vessels, and still climbing." Jeho nodded, maintaining his composed exterior while his mind raced through possible scenarios. The Earth's combined space fleet numbered barely 200 ships. Even with their most advanced weapons, this was no fight they could win. The first transmission came exactly 3 hours after the fleet's arrival. The holographic display shifted, revealing a tall, humanoid figure. Its skin had a metallic sheen, and multiple sets of eyes blinked in an unsettling pattern. "People of Earth," the automated translation began, its neutral tone at odds with the gravity of the message. "I am High Commander Raxon of the Galactic Council. Your species has been observed and judged to be too volatile for unrestricted space travel." Jeho's hands clenched into fists. Humanity had only recently achieved faster-than-light travel, and already they were being caged like animals. The alien continued. "Your tendency toward violence, your rapid technological advancement, and your resource consumption patterns indicate a significant threat to galactic stability. The Council has voted unanimously. Earth will be quarantined until such time as your species demonstrates sufficient evolution in its behavioral patterns." Screens around the command center lit up with new alerts. Energy readings were spiking across the solar system as thousands of devices activated simultaneously. "The quarantine barrier is now being established," Raxon announced. "Any attempt to breach it will be met with immediate force. This is not a negotiation." Jeho watched in horror as a shimmering wall of energy began forming between Earth and Mars, quickly expanding to encompass the entire solar system. The barrier looked like a soap bubble stretched across space, its surface rippling with colors that shouldn't exist. "Admiral Lee wants to speak with you, sir," Lieutenant Kim said, her terminal blinking with an urgent message. Jeho stepped into his private office, activating the secure communication line. Admiral Lee's weathered face appeared on the screen, looking as grim as Jeho felt. "They've trapped us, Captain," the Admiral stated without preamble. "Initial tests show the barrier is impenetrable to all our current technology. We're getting similar reports from every space agency on Earth." "What are our orders, sir?" The Admiral's expression hardened. "For now, we maintain calm. The last thing we need is panic in the streets. But make no mistake, Captain Park, this is not the end. Humanity has faced extinction-level threats before, and we've always found a way forward." Jeho understood the hidden meaning. Already, he could imagine the secret projects that would soon be initiated, the desperate research that would begin in hidden laboratories across the globe. The aliens might think they had contained humanity, but they had just made a crucial mistake. Throughout history, humans had demonstrated an extraordinary ability to innovate when backed into a corner. Now, with the entire species effectively imprisoned, that drive would be stronger than ever. "One more thing, Captain," the Admiral added. "Keep monitoring those ships. I want to know everything. Their movements, their communication patterns, any weakness we might exploit. They may have superior technology, but they don't know humans like we do." As Jeho returned to the command center, he saw determination replacing fear in his officer's eyes. The initial shock was wearing off, replaced by something more dangerous: human resourcefulness. "Lieutenant Kim," he called out, "start deep scans of the barrier. I want to know its composition, frequency, everything. And get me in touch with the quantum physics team at KAIST. It's time we showed our visitors what happens when you try to cage humanity." The alien fleet maintained its position, their ships forming an elaborate pattern around the solar system. They probably thought they were being merciful, giving humanity a chance to evolve under their supervision. Instead, they had just initiated a chain of events that would reshape the galaxy. As the first day of Earth's quarantine drew to a close, Jaho looked at the shimmering barrier one last time. Soon, very soon, the Galactic Council would learn why humans had survived every catastrophe their planet had thrown at them. They would learn why Earth's history was filled with tales of imprisoned people finding ways to break free. The aliens had made their move. Now it was humanity's turn to respond. 3 kilometers beneath the Antarctic ice, Dr. Hae-Yun Kim stood before a sight that would change human history. The quantum tunneling chamber, a marvel of engineering, hummed with power as blue-white energy danced between its crystalline pillars. After 15 years of secrecy, her life's work was about to become humanity's greatest hope. Primary systems are ready, Dr. Tadawon Lee announced from his control station. His fingers moved across holographic displays, making final adjustments to the quantum field generators, chamber temperature holding at absolute zero. Hae-Yun nodded, her breath visible in the frigid air despite the facility's heating systems. The chamber before them represented the combined efforts of 12 nations, working in complete secrecy since long before the alien blockade. Now, with humanity trapped within its own solar system, their work had become crucial. "Begin test sequence alpha," she ordered, her voice steady despite the tension. Around the chamber, dozens of scientists and engineers monitored their stations. Each had been chosen not just for their brilliance, but for their absolute dedication to advancing human civilization. The quantum field intensified, creating distortions in space-time visible to the naked eye. In the center of the chamber, a simple metal cube waited on a platform. If their calculations were correct, it would be the first object to achieve instantaneous matter transport. Field stability at 98%, Taiwan reported. "Ready for transport on your mark." Hae-Yun took a deep breath. They had tried this hundreds of times before, each attempt bringing them closer to success. But now, with the aliens watching from above, failure wasn't an option. Initiate transport. The cube shimmered, its edges becoming indistinct as quantum fields wrapped around it. For a fraction of a second, it existed in 2 places simultaneously, here in the chamber and in an identical facility 200 kilometers away. Then it vanished. Seconds later, the confirmation came through. Target successfully materialized at reception point beta. The announcement triggered a wave of relieved sighs and quiet celebrations throughout the control room. Hae-Yun allowed herself a small smile. "Begin full analysis of transport data. I want to be absolutely certain there was no molecular degradation." As her team worked, she thought about the implications of their success. The aliens had created their barrier assuming humans would be limited to conventional space travel. They hadn't considered the possibility that humanity might simply sidestep normal space altogether. The facility's main screen lit up with an incoming transmission. The faces of world leaders appeared, their expressions a mixture of hope and urgency. "Dr. Kim," the Secretary General began, "we've received your preliminary report. How soon can this technology be scaled up?" "We've proven the concept works," Hae-Yun replied carefully. "But moving from a metal cube to a spacecraft will require significant adjustments. We'll need more resources, more personnel." "You'll have whatever you need," another leader interjected. "Every major nation has agreed to redirect their entire space program budgets to your project." Taiwan stepped forward, displaying new calculations. "With proper funding and support, we estimate 6 months to achieve human transport, perhaps a year for larger vessels." The leaders exchanged glances. "The aliens won't maintain their blockade forever," someone pointed out. "They'll eventually expect to see signs of our evolution toward their standards. Then we'll give them exactly what they expect to see," Hae-Yun said firmly. "On the surface, we'll play the part of the chastened species, learning our lesson. Meanwhile, down here, we'll be preparing humanity's real response to their quarantine." The meeting concluded with a clear directive. Project Quantum Gate would receive unlimited support. As the screens went dark, Hae-Yun turned to her team. We're going to need bigger chambers, more powerful generators, and improved stability controls, she announced. Humanity's future depends on what we accomplish here. Over the next weeks, the facility expanded rapidly. New sections were carved from the ice, filled with advanced equipment and staffed by the brightest minds Earth could provide. Every failed test taught them something new. Every success brought them closer to their goal. He-Yun worked tirelessly, knowing that somewhere above, alien ships maintained their watch over a supposedly contained humanity. They didn't realize that their barrier, designed to keep humans within normal space, was completely useless against quantum tunneling. We're ready for the first biological test, Ta-1 reported 1 month later, indicating a small plant in an environmental container. He-Yun gave the order, and they watched as it disappeared and reappeared 200 kilometers away, perfectly intact. Looking at the successful test results, He-Yun felt a surge of pride. The aliens thought they had imprisoned humanity, but they had actually given them the push they needed to achieve something revolutionary. Soon, the stars themselves would be within humanity's reach, not through conventional space travel, but through the quantum paths they were creating. The imprisonment of humanity was about to become its greatest catalyst for advancement. The Ghost Walker hung suspended in Mars orbit, its quantum-enhanced stealth systems making it invisible to both conventional sensors and alien monitoring equipment. Inside the bridge, Chief Engineer Subin Choi held her breath as she watched the alien patrol vessels pass by, completely unaware of her ship's presence. Stealth systems holding steady, her second-in-command whispered, despite knowing the aliens couldn't possibly hear them. Quantum's signature is masked, and the hull's metamaterials are working perfectly. Subin allowed herself a small smile. The Ghost Walker represented humanity's greatest achievement in stealth technology, combining traditional cloaking methods with quantum tunneling capabilities. Its hull, designed by Du-Yun Kang's engineering team, could bend light and sensor signals around it while maintaining structural integrity during quantum jumps. Begin recording, Subin ordered softly. The Council needs to see this. The ship's cameras captured high-resolution images of the alien vessels, their patrol patterns, and most importantly, the weaknesses in their detection systems. Meanwhile, in a hidden facility beneath the Martian surface, Du-Yun Kang and his team monitored the Ghost Walker's performance. The quantum tunneling process had been refined significantly since the first successful tests on Earth. Now, they could move vessels as large as the Ghost Walker through quantum space with minimal energy signatures. Chief Choi, Du-Yun's voice came through the secure quantum channel. We're detecting minor fluctuations in the drive core. Nothing critical, but we should probably bring you back soon. Subin checked her instruments. They had achieved all their primary objectives, testing the stealth systems against actual alien technology, mapping patrol routes, and proving they could operate undetected within the quarantine zone. It was time to return. Initiating return sequence, she announced. The Ghost Walker's quantum drive hummed to life, creating a microscopic tunnel through space-time. Unlike conventional quantum jumping, which produced visible energy signatures, their refined process was virtually undetectable. In an instant, the ship disappeared from Mars orbit and rematerialized in the underground hangar on Earth. As the systems powered down, Subin could hear the excited chatter of technicians and engineers rushing to analyze the data they collected. Successful test, Chief Choi. Du-Yun greeted her as she stepped off the ship. The aliens didn't even blink. Their barrier might as well be tissue paper against our quantum technology. Subin nodded, but her mind was already on the next phase. How are the larger vessels coming along? The first colony ship is almost ready, Du-Yun replied, leading her to a massive viewing window. Below, teams of workers swarmed around a ship 5 times the size of Ghost Walker. We've incorporated everything we learned from your test flights. When it's done, it'll carry 500 colonists plus supplies, all completely undetectable. The sight filled Subin with pride. While the aliens smugly maintained their blockade, Humanity was preparing for something they could never expect, a mass exodus that would bypass their barrier entirely. The quantum signatures are getting cleaner with each modification, Du Yen explained, showing her the latest test data. We've managed to reduce the energy footprint by another 30%. Even if they were looking for quantum tunneling activity, they'd need sensors at least a century beyond their current technology to detect us. Su Bin studied the construction below. The colony ship's hull incorporated the same metamaterials as Ghost Walker, but with improved efficiency. Its quantum drive was larger but paradoxically produced less detectable energy. Every lesson learned from her test flights had been applied to make this vessel even more invisible to alien detection. How many more test flights before we're ready for the first colony launch? She asked. 3, maybe 4, Du Yen replied. We need to be absolutely certain everything works perfectly. These ships will be carrying our species' future. Su Bin watched as workers installed the final panels on the colony ship's hull. Above them, beyond the Earth's atmosphere, alien ships continued their endless patrol, maintaining a barrier they believed unbreakable. They had no idea that humans were about to prove them wrong in the most spectacular way possible. Schedule the next test flight for tomorrow, she ordered. Let's show them why you should never underestimate human ingenuity. The aliens had given humanity a challenge, and humans had responded by doing what they did best, finding a way around it. Soon, the stars would belong to humanity, not through force or defiance, but through the quiet application of superior innovation. The ghost ships were ready, the quantum tunnels were stable, and humanity's greatest journey was about to begin, right under their captors' noses. Commander Minji Song stood at the bridge of the Quantum Voyager, Earth's first colonial transport ship, as it prepared for humanity's greatest journey. 500 colonists slept in stasis below, unaware they would soon become the first humans to live beyond the solar system. Final systems check complete, her first officer reported. Quantum drive is primed and stable. Stealth systems operating at peak efficiency. Minji nodded, her heart racing despite years of preparation for this moment. Through the view screen, she could see the alien blockade ships, their patrol patterns now familiar after months of observation. They had no idea that humans had found a way to slip through their net. Begin quantum tunneling sequence, she ordered. The ship hummed softly as its advanced drives created a pathway through space-time. Unlike conventional faster-than-light travel, their method would leave no trace for the aliens to detect. The jump lasted less than a second. When the ship rematerialized, they were 20 light-years from Earth, orbiting a pristine blue-green world that would become humanity's first extrasolar colony. Young Ho-Bake, the colony's designated leader, joined Minji on the bridge. It's even more beautiful than the probe data suggested, he whispered, staring at their new home. The planet, soon to be named New Sol, had been carefully chosen. Its atmosphere was breathable, its gravity close to Earth's, and its ecosystems compatible with human life. Most importantly, it lay far from any known alien civilization. Landing operations began immediately, as the massive colony ships descended through the atmosphere. Minji couldn't help but feel proud. The aliens thought they had contained humanity within the solar system, but instead, they had pushed humans to achieve the impossible. Young Ho's team worked with incredible efficiency, establishing the first settlement within days. Prefabricated buildings rose from the virgin soil, power systems hummed to life, and agricultural domes began producing food. The colonists, awakened from stasis, stepped onto alien soil with a mixture of fear and wonder. The first communication relay is online, Young Ho reported to Minji. We can now maintain quantum-encrypted contact with Earth without risk of detection. Back in the solar system, Earth maintained its appearance of a properly chastised civilization. Cities continued their normal routines, space traffic remained minimal, and the alien blockade received no cause for suspicion. Meanwhile, more ships followed the Quantum Voyager's path. Each week, thousands of carefully selected colonists vanished from Earth, transported through quantum space to New Sol and other newly discovered worlds. Every departure was masked by careful data manipulation, making it appear as though Earth's population was simply experiencing normal fluctuations. Minji coordinated each exodus wave with precision, ensuring no pattern emerged that might alert their watchers. Ships jumped from different locations at random intervals, their quantum signatures masked by the background radiation of space. The hydroponics facilities are at full capacity, Young Ho announced during one of their daily meetings. Medical center is operational, and the first colonial children have been born. We're no longer just surviving. We're thriving. Minji watched as New Seoul grew from a collection of prefab buildings into a true city. The colonists had adapted quickly, combining Earth technology with the resources of their new world. They were building something unprecedented, a human civilization free from alien oversight. Earth Control reports the blockade remains unchanged, her communications officer noted. The aliens still believe their barrier is impenetrable. It was humanity's greatest deception. While the Galactic Council waited for humans to evolve into a more peaceful species, humanity was secretly expanding across the stars. Each successful colony strengthened their position. Each quantum jump proved the aliens' superiority was an illusion. As Minji prepared for another convoy of ships, she reflected on the irony of their situation. The aliens' attempt to contain humanity had instead launched them into the greatest expansion in human history. When the time finally came to reveal themselves, the galaxy would discover that humans had transformed their prison into a launching pad for the stars. The exodus continued, silent and unstoppable, as humanity slipped through the quantum cracks in their cosmic cage. Colony Director Hyun-woo Nam stared in disbelief at the holographic images floating before him. The ruins they'd discovered beneath New Seoul's surface weren't just ancient. They contained technological secrets that could revolutionize human civilization. The writing matches no known language, Dr. Ji Yang reported, her fingers tracing the strange symbols etched into metallic walls. But look at these diagrams. They're describing physics we've barely theorized about. The discovery had come by accident during the construction of New Seoul's underground transport network. What started as a strange metallic reading on their sensors had led them to an entire complex of alien structures, untouched for what appeared to be millions of years. The quantum signatures here are unlike anything we've seen, Jai-A continued, examining her readings. These ruins were built by beings who understood space-time at a fundamental level we're only beginning to grasp. Hyun-woo watched as research teams carefully documented every inch of the facility. The ancient builders had left behind not just their technology, but complete technical databases stored in crystalline matrices. Each crystal contains centuries of advanced scientific knowledge. We've managed to decode some of their basic principles, Jai-A explained, bringing up a new hologram. Their understanding of quantum mechanics makes our current technology look primitive. They weren't just traveling through space, they were manipulating the fabric of reality itself. The implications were staggering. While the Galactic Council thought they had contained humanity within a simple energy barrier, humans had stumbled upon knowledge that could reshape their understanding of the universe. How quickly can we incorporate this into our existing technology? Hyun-woo asked, already thinking of the possibilities. Jai's eyes lit up with excitement. We've already begun modifying our quantum drives based on their principles. The efficiency increase is beyond anything we thought possible, and that's just the beginning. Over the next months, research teams worked around the clock to understand and apply the ancient knowledge. The ruins became a secret laboratory where human innovation merged with alien wisdom. Each breakthrough brought them closer to technological supremacy. Watch this. Jai-A demonstrated one day, activating a modified quantum field generator. The energy signature was completely different from their previous technology, more stable, more powerful, and most importantly, completely undetectable even to their most sensitive instruments. The ancient builders had discovered ways to work with quantum forces that made current human understanding seem childlike. Their technology didn't just hide from detection. It operated in ways that current science couldn't even detect. We've modified the first colonial ship with the new drives, Jai-A reported to Hyunwoo. It can now travel 10 times farther while using half the energy. And the stealth capabilities. She paused, smiling. Well, we could park it right next to a council ship, and they wouldn't notice. Hyunwoo knew they were witnessing a turning point in human history. The knowledge found in these ruins wouldn't just help them escape the council's containment. It would catapult human civilization centuries ahead in development. Research teams began applying the ancient principles to other technologies. Medical equipment became more effective, power generation more efficient, and manufacturing processes more advanced. New Seoul was transforming into something beyond what anyone had imagined possible. The most interesting part, Jai-A noted during one of their daily briefings, is that this facility seems to be just one of many. The databases mention a network of similar installations across the galaxy, if we can find them. The implications hung in the air. Humanity wasn't just building a hidden empire. They were reclaiming the legacy of an ancient civilization that had mastered the fundamental forces of the universe. Each day brought new discoveries. The quantum technology that had seemed so advanced when they first escaped Earth now appeared basic compared to what they were learning. The ancient builders had left behind the keys to powers that the current Galactic Council couldn't even imagine. As Hyunwoo looked out over the growing city of New Seoul, he couldn't help but appreciate the irony. The aliens had tried to imprison humanity, but instead they had driven them to discover something that would change the balance of power forever. The hidden empire was growing stronger every day, powered by knowledge that had waited millions of years to be rediscovered. When humanity finally revealed themselves to the galaxy, they would do so not as escaped prisoners, but as the heirs to a technological legacy that would reshape civilization itself. Ambassador Sung-Min Cho stood on the bridge of the flagship Quantum Dawn, watching as thousands of human vessels materialized simultaneously around every major world of the Galactic Council. Years of preparation had led to this moment of revelation, and he intended to savor it. All ships report successful emergence, his tactical officer announced. Quantum signatures masked as planned. The Council's defense systems haven't even registered our presence. Sung-Min straightened his formal diplomatic uniform. Their ships, incorporating the ancient technology found on New Seoul, were far beyond anything the Council possessed. Each vessel could have appeared silently in the heart of their most secure facilities. Open a channel to the Council chamber, he ordered. Let's introduce ourselves properly. The massive holographic display showed the Council's central meeting hall, where representatives from dozens of species sat in tiered rings. They were discussing routine matters, completely unaware of the human fleet surrounding their worlds. Honorable members of the Galactic Council, Sung-Min's voice echoed through their chamber. The aliens froze as his image appeared before them. I am Ambassador Sung-Min Cho of Earth. We believe it's time to renegotiate the terms of our quarantine. The chamber erupted in chaos. Council members shouted for their defense forces, only to learn that every major military installation was already surrounded by human ships that had appeared from nowhere. Please remain calm. Sung-Min continued, his voice steady. If we intended harm, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We're here to establish diplomatic relations as equals. The High Commander who had ordered Earth's quarantine years ago stood up, his multiple eyes blinking rapidly. Impossible. The barrier is impenetrable. No human vessel could have. Your barrier, Sung-Min interrupted politely, was obsolete before you built it. While you watched our planet, believing us contained, humanity spread across the stars. We have established colonies on hundreds of worlds, none of which appear in your charts. He transmitted images of human cities on distant planets, of vast fleets using technology the Council had never seen, of innovations that merged human ingenuity with recovered ancient knowledge. But how? Another Council member demanded. Your species was primitive when we found you. Sung-Min allowed himself a small smile. You gave us the greatest gift possible, a challenge. In trying to contain us, you forced humanity to surpass its limitations. We found paths through space you never imagined, discovered ruins of civilizations that mastered forces you don't understand. The council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Their effort to prevent humanity's expansion had instead created a technological superpower right under their noses. "We're not here for revenge," some men assured them. "Humanity desires peaceful coexistence, trade, and cultural exchange. But we will no longer accept imprisonment. The barrier around Earth will be removed, and humanity will take its place among the galactic community." As if to emphasize his point, more human ships emerged from quantum space, each demonstrating capabilities that defied the Council's understanding of physics. "You have one standard day to consider our terms," Sung Min concluded. "We look forward to a productive dialogue about humanity's role in galactic affairs." The transmission ended, leaving the Council in stunned silence. Outside their chamber, citizens of countless worlds looked up at their skies, seeing human vessels that had appeared impossible distances in perfect synchronization. On the quantum dawn, Sung Min received reports from every fleet position. The emergence had gone flawlessly, a demonstration of power so complete that it made any thought of resistance pointless. "The Council is requesting emergency talks," his communications officer reported. "They seem eager to begin negotiations immediately." Sung Min nodded, satisfied. The quarantine of Earth had been meant to contain humanity's potential for violence. Instead, it had revealed humanity's true strength, the ability to overcome any obstacle, to turn imprisonment into opportunity, and to emerge stronger than ever. The age of human isolation was over. A new era of galactic history was about to begin. First Minister Jinna Quan stood before the Galactic Council, her presence commanding attention in the vast chamber. The negotiations that would reshape humanity's place in the galaxy were about to begin, and she intended to ensure Earth's position of strength was clear. "The terms are simple," she stated, her voice carrying to every corner of the chamber. "The quarantine ends immediately. Earth joins the Council as a full member, with all rights and privileges that entails." The Council members shifted uncomfortably. Their failed attempt to contain humanity had resulted in something unprecedented, a civilization that had mastered technologies beyond their understanding. Furthermore, Jinnah continued, "All human colonies will be recognized as sovereign territories. Our quantum transportation networks will remain under human control, but we're willing to establish regulated trade routes using conventional space lanes." High Commander Raxon, who had ordered Earth's original quarantine, leaned forward. "And what guarantees do we have that humanity won't use its advantages against Council worlds?" Jinnah smiled diplomatically. "The same guarantees you have from any other member species. We seek cooperation, not conquest. Our technological advancement doesn't change our desire for peaceful coexistence." The evidence of humanity's capabilities was impossible to ignore. Human ships still surrounded every major Council world, their quantum drives making them effectively untouchable. Yet not a single act of aggression had been committed. "We've prepared a comprehensive trade proposal," Jinnah announced, transmitting data to each Council member. "Earth will share certain technologies, medical advances, clean energy systems, agricultural improvements. In exchange, we want access to Council trade routes and diplomatic recognition." The Council chamber buzzed with discussion. The humans were offering significant benefits while maintaining control of their most advanced technologies. It was a masterful diplomatic balance, generous enough to be attractive, yet careful to preserve humanity's strategic advantages. "You must understand our concern," another Council member spoke up. "In just a few years, your species has achieved what others haven't in millennia. The power imbalance was created by your own actions." Jinnah interrupted smoothly. "The quarantine forced humanity to innovate in ways we might never have considered otherwise. You didn't contain us. You catalyzed our greatest advancement." She gestured to the holographic displays showing human achievements, vast cities on distant worlds, fleets of ships with capabilities that defied conventional physics, and technologies that merged human innovation with recovered ancient knowledge. The question isn't whether humanity is too powerful, Jinnah stated firmly. It's whether the Council is wise enough to accept that the galaxy's balance has changed. We can be your greatest allies or your worst nightmare. The choice is yours. The Council deliberated for hours while Jinnah waited patiently. She knew the outcome was inevitable. Humanity had already won. This negotiation was merely formalizing their victory. Finally, the Council reached its decision. The quarantine would end. Earth would join the Council. Human territories would be recognized. A new era of galactic politics would begin. As Jinnah signed the formal agreements, she reflected on the irony of their situation. The Council's attempt to prevent humanity's expansion had instead created something far more powerful than they could have imagined. A unified human civilization that had mastered the galaxy's greatest secrets. The isolation meant to contain humanity had forged them into an unconquerable force. Now, the species that had been judged too dangerous for space travel would help shape the galaxy's future. Earth's quarantine was over. Humanity's true journey was about to begin.